Hey guys, and welcome back to the final week of the Porsche Cup season here on iRacing. My name is Matt Emery with CoachDaveAcademy.com, and yeah, here for Oran Park for week 12 of season 1 of 2024. And yeah, let's get into the hot lap firstly and foremost. Okay, so let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Oran Park circuit here in Australia. Now it's quite a decent track. I imagine most of you guys would have driven this in rookies at some stage, as it is one of the 3 tracks, I believe. I personally haven't driven this for a long time, and especially not in a Porsche car. So yeah, you start the lap heading down towards turn 1, then slightly downhill, and you sort of got 2 corners to deal with here. You want to start braking just at the end of this wall here on the right hand side, because you start braking for turn 2 before you actually get past turn 1. So it's quite a long braking zone, especially in this car. Obviously you're turning while braking as well. So starting to brake just after the wall on the right hand side, and it's just as you start to turn in as well. You're aiming for that apex of turn 1 there. Hit the curb, and then just you notice how much I'm trail braking through here, just to make sure we don't lock up. Obviously, if you're braking while turning, you're loading up the front tyres slightly more. It means it is a bit easier to lock up. So yeah, braking in a nice, steady manner. You notice if you look at my brake trace, it's very smooth. So you want to be careful, just maintaining consistent pressure on the brake pedal. Just coming down the gears slowly, nothing too dramatic, and then getting the car into the apex and getting on the throttle as early as you can. And I mean, I did find this is probably the trickiest corner on the track to get right, just because it's so hard to get your braking point. So if you're looking for a better representative, you could say the end of these cones there. But a general reference is just after this wall, the end of this wall. But yeah, braking all the way through here, just holding that pressure, and then getting it turned in, just making sure we're sticking to this inside curb here, and then on the throttle as early as we can, using all of the track, and that curb is fine to use as well on the exit. Heading towards turn 3 then, again opening up the corner to the left hand side, turning in quite early. It is quite a tricky corner to get right, just as the track widens more than you think. So if I go on the in the cockpit cam here, you see what I mean. So you're turning in here, you're expecting, the track looks like it's going to go a bit straighter, like you're going to be able to go a bit further that way. And then you've also got a track that goes, you can't really see it from this angle, but there's also one that goes off that way as well. So just make sure you do your practice. Just get your reference points correct, especially for turn 1 and 2 as well. But yeah, on the throttle as early as you can, you know, some full lock on the apex. Braking as well. Braking quite hard for this corner. And then just trail braking again, coming off the brakes, onto the throttle as early as we can. And then yeah, back to full throttle. Where are we? There we go. Using all of the curb on the exit as well, just making sure we're back onto the track before the grass. And then we head down to the next double apex right-hander, or double right-hander really. Now this one's quite a tricky corner to get right. Now going in, you've got this sort of bump here in the road where the other layout sort of joins. So that's something you've got to deal with. Just in terms of brake pressure, make sure you're not peaking too much. Again, same with turn 1 and 2. Because when you as the car goes light and then comes back down, it's very easy to lock the tyres. So just be careful with that. You notice I'm about 50%, in fact bang on 50% coming into the corner. Hitting this first apex. Now it's very tempting to try and hug the second apex as well, but you notice there's a horrible bit of camber. You see how the track sort of falls away at the apex there, which means you can't quite get the power down. And I was finding it was better to take a wider line here, just so you can get on the throttle earlier. I played it through for you in one motion. So on the throttle now, whereas if you're in the apex, you'd still be fighting the car. I just found it's better to take a nice sweeping line around the corner rather than apexing. Also opens up the next corner as well as you come up the hill. But yeah, quite a tricky one to get right. Again, just make sure we check the first apex on the power as early as we can, and then back up the hill for another blind corner. And there's a couple of them on this circuit. But yeah, making sure you get your reference points correct for this one as we head back over the circuit as well. Again, sticking to the left-hand side. And just as you pop over the crest, just want to pop onto the brakes slightly. Only 10-15% or so, just to get the nose in. And then sticking it to the inside as much as we can. The rear end, you notice what happened for me, the rear end does get quite light there, so just be careful, especially as you're coming over the crest and the car's settling back down. And also found with this apex, you can see there's a slight bump in the curb. So just make sure you're not getting on the grass here or touching the curb too much, as you're going to get a bit of a tag slapper on if you touch that. But yeah, just feathering the throttle, just being really patient, make sure we get back on full throttle, make sure the rear is in check as well. And I'll play that through for you again, just in this angle, so you got a better view of it. So yeah, hopping over the crest, apexing quite early, just being really patient on the throttle, and then back up to fourth gear. Another blind corner to deal with here. So if you look here, you can't see the corner at all where you're aiming for. So I found it was good to start turning in roughly at this start of this orange and red curb, or yellow and red, sorry. And braking just before you head over the crest as well. So braking just about now. Starting to turn in early, before you can even see the corner actually. And then hop over this curb on the inside. There's a bit of concrete on the inside of the curb that you can use here, that's absolutely fine. There's no off track for that, as long as you stay off the grass, that's absolutely fine. And then on the power as early as we can. Cutting all across this curb as well on the left hand side. And then just feeding the car out to the right hand side to open up the next corner, and again all over the concrete on the inside as well. I'll just play it through for you once more so you can see that again. So turning in nice and early just as we pop over the crest, all over the concrete on the inside, hopping over this curb and then opening up the left hander all the way to the right hand side using all of the curb on the entry. Again, this corner you can turn in quite early, so you notice I'm turning in about here. Just means you can carry the speed through the corner rather than focusing all on the exit. So you notice turning in nice and early all across this curb, and then we're already, at this point, already on the throttle. So full throttle out of here. With this exit curb as well, something to bear in mind is, I'm not sure if you can see from your guys' perspective, but the curb, or the concrete actually falls away from the track. So I suggest only going up to the edge of the curb and not using the extra concrete, just so you can get better traction. So you notice I'm just all the way to the edge of the curb, not using too much more. And then back on full throttle. Now this bit, again, very blind corner. You've got to be really, really confident with your reference points for this one, because again, similar to the last couple of corners, you can't really see too much as you head in. You just got to believe that the track's going to be there still. So on the throttle, absolutely planted through here. You notice I have a slight lift here, just as we dip over the crest. And there's also a horrible bump you'll see in a second over the curb. So that one's flat, slight lift, get a bit of air time there, and then back to full throttle. This one, takes a bit of practice to get right, because your brain wants you to go sort of further right than you are, especially as you can't see the second curb. Obviously from this angle it's a bit easier to see, but it's very easy to point your car sort of this way. So just make sure you get your practice in, learn your reference points. Always want to cut this one more than you think as well. But yeah, full throttle across this first section. Slight lift as we go over the curb, and then there's a horrible bump you can see. The rear is completely off the ground there. And and as you land back on full throttle, and then braking for the final corner. Now the final corner, as it's uphill, obviously gravity's working in your favour a little bit, so you can brake slightly later than you would usually. So braking nice and late into the apex, just being really patient with the throttle and getting on the full throttle as early as you can. And then obviously opening up as much as you can to the right hand side on the entry as well. Now I prefer to go second gear here. If you're struggling with the rears on the exit, and obviously you can short shift up to third. I was also playing around with touching this inside curb. You don't want to be too much further than that. Otherwise you're just going to get a bit of, it's just going to unsettle the car. It's not great for the exit, and obviously the exit is the most important thing with the long pit straight ahead of you. The wall as well. It's very easy to get a bit sideways and clip the wall as well on the exit, so just be careful with that. But you can actually use the extra runoff towards the wall to your advantage. So notice I'm all the way on full throttle, running it all the way to the wall as close as you can, just using all the track maximise that exit speed. And yeah, that is a lap of the Oran Park circuit. So that was the last hot lap guide for this season. I hope you guys are getting a lot of iRacing this season, and it's been very successful for you guys. I hope these lap guides have helped you as well. That was Oran Park. My name's been Matt Emery with CoachDayAcademy.com. Obviously, as usual, check out the Discord down below. Any questions you've got in there, just drop us a message and we'll be able to get back to you. Obviously, all the latest data packs on the website as well. But yeah, I will see you guys for week 1 of season 2 for 2024. Obviously, we all know that rain's coming soon, so that's something to look forward to as well. But yeah, in the meantime, take care, guys, and I will see you next season.